Hello, everyone. Monaco 64 here, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. Let me know if you can hear me clearly. I've got my earphones on because we're going to have a special guest. We have him almost every month, but he hasn't been here for a while. It's Rafi Farber. He's going to be talking with us, sharing his wisdom. I always like speaking with Rafi. Hi, Ben. Hi, Chris. Hi, Dave. Mike Jeffries, Grow Mechanic, Miles, Keys, Alain Roy. Bonjour, Alain. Grow Mechanic. Belly Dance, Rabia. Alan Zibelman. Hi, Alan. Luder 92, Cozy Fantute. Damien Wright. The sound is good. That's good. Jamie Keenan, loud and clear. Great. Yeah, Rafi will be coming on in about 5 minutes. I always like to start a little early. Yeah, Billy is here, as you can see. He's just almost off the picture, but he's here. Cupid Stunt, Evening Mario and Billy, no mates, Bullion Billy, everyone, greetings from Warrington in the UK. Joker Alpha can hear, good. And Cooper's here, hi Ann. Let's see, Brady Girding, hi Brady. Thomas Toops, Vincent Quinn from Sweden, Andrew Watson from Basingstoke. I just read an article that someone 23-year-old has been arrested in Basingstoke for faking NHS passes, COVID vaccine passes. He had a Telegram chat and people were buying. He was going into their data and actually saying that they were double, you know what? He was from Basingstoke. Yeah, Billy is the boss. Eric S says, love your daily insights. Keep it up. Love from Russia. Great. And Cooper is excited to be on the live stream, catching the live stream. Paul Weens from southern Manitoba. Roy Brown from Mississippi. Slava Key, hi Slava. Joseph Mario Morich, hi Joseph. Lisa Sumner says California's on fire. Can't breathe. James Peter Millward, hi James, nice to see you here. Torre Vieja, Norman Liu says hello. Alan Zilberman bought a 12-pack of wool socks. UK Silverback is in Leeds. When do the lights go out? I don't know. I see that they're having problems in China, and I see that they're having problems with coal supplies in India as well. So this is a worldwide problem. I think it's the problem with the money, and that's why I wanted to have Rafi on. He explains it really well. I think better than me. Alan says Billy's the most interesting dog in the world. Billy needs a lady friend, says Paul Mark DeSantis. He's getting on, Paul. Unfortunately, he can't see that well anymore. Texas in the house. North Carolina, sunny North Carolina. Graham Hobbs says, very happy birthday. Yeah, it is my birthday today, October 3rd. I went out last night. My wife and I went out for a nice dinner. and this morning I played golf. So that's how I spent my birthday. Miles, thank you for your super chat. No chips equals no production, less demand for copper, silver, gold, etc. I don't think gold is dependent on manufacturing or industrial demand. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, the problem with the chips is going to create shortages and prices are going to go higher. And yeah, a lot of people are thinking that this is going to create demand destruction and prices are going down. But during a hyperinflation, you get the economy goes down. So I'm not too sure if that will pan out like that. We should have Rafi on soon. John Bethia says 75th birthday was yesterday. Yeah, today's my 57th. You can probably work that out. Monaco 64. That's the year I was born. I think I was born on a Saturday at 7 a.m. That was in Brazil, so Rio time back then. Thank you everyone for the birthday wishes. Mike Carroll, I don't think China is the biggest supplier of chips. There's a lot of other countries like Taiwan and other countries in Asia that I think Thailand, Korea that supply chips. And you know, all the stuff that's happened since February, March last year is disrupted the whole supply chain. And it's really difficult to put it back in the box, so to speak. Alan Zilberman is from 62. So he's a couple of years older than me. Rafi should be coming on soon. I've got my Billy says snore on and keep stacking mug. So there you go. I've got some tea actually. I don't drink that much tea, but I thought I'd have some tea. Lisa Sumner, thank you for your super chat. I appreciate it. Sarge 27271 says good day, Sarge. Let's see, Rafi's not here yet. Should be coming on soon. Yeah, the title of the live stream is about the Federal Reserve, whether it's being dismantled or it's being steered towards MMT. And the reason I thought that would be interesting to talk about is because we're seeing a lot of scandals out of the Fed. Two Fed presidents have been, they resigned, and now there's talk that the vice chairman, one of the vice chairmen, Clarida, or don't know how you pronounce his name, he's been caught front running the Federal Reserve's emergency rate cut last year in March. He got out of bonds into stocks just a few days before the Fed cut rates in an emergency meeting. And yeah, so we're going to talk about that with Rafi as well, because he's got some ideas. Rochelle Fernandez, thank you for your super chat. Adam Karimian from Northumberland. Yeah, Billy is snoring on. Patrick Gelbke from Switzerland. There are rumors Bank of America is filing for bankruptcy. I haven't heard of that. That would be a big one, and Bank of America. Yeah, there is something definitely wrong out there in the financial world and everything, really. We're hearing, oh, let's see, no, he's not here yet. Oh, here we go. Rafi's coming on. Hi, Rafi.
Hello, Mario. Good to see you again.
Nice to see you too. Everyone's been waiting for you too. I've
Uh,
been on for, I always go on a little earlier, but so that doesn't matter. So
I thought it's only 11:03. It's
yeah,
9:03, right, in London?
you're on time. Yeah, yeah. I set it up for 9, but I start usually a few minutes earlier, so it doesn't matter. Um,
Okay.
I'm getting a super chat here. Timothy Sullivan. Uh, it's your 60th birthday? No, I'm 57 today. It's my Monaco 64, 1964 plus 57 is 2021.
Oh,
uh,
it's your birthday today.
yeah, October 3rd. There you go.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mine and my wife's are in 6 days.
Oh, yours as well, or just
Yeah,
your
yeah, and my
wife's?
wife's too.
Oh, you're in the same birthday, are you?
Yeah, yeah, we're born on the same day. It's kind of weird.
Wow, that's interesting. Um, so yeah, I was just starting to talk about the Federal Reserve because I saw, in your report, weekend report, and also I saw someone tweet a couple of days ago or yesterday about Clarida. Now they're starting to talk about him buying stock, selling bonds and buying stocks like 5 days before the Fed cut interest rates in an emergency meeting. And then we had the other two Fed presidents resigning because someone is uh, giving out information about their trading. And the title of the live stream is, are they dismantling the Fed, which would be a great thing, or are they just trying to change the composition of the Federal Reserve Board and the presidents to try to bring in maybe a different policy, even more accommodative? What do you think, Rafi?
I don't know. I don't have that much of a deep conspiratorial in terms of politically conspiratorial mind, because I'm not a politician and I don't think in these directions. So like I'm never trying to play like a political chess game. So when I try to get into the head of somebody who's trying to, get into a power center, I can never really understand it because it's never any of my motivation. But if I really try to like put myself in the situation, I can only think of two possibilities. Either there's some kind of crony something going on and they're going to replace one bad team with another, which I hope is not the case. What I hope is that there's somebody or maybe a cell of a group of people in the, underneath the Fed that is trying to undermine its credibility, which is that's what I hope. I mean, because these media stories, the good side of them is that they undermine the people in the Fed, their credibility. No, they're not looking out for our best interests and managing the money supply. They're just trying to make money for themselves, which is true, even if they can perfectly present themselves in the perfect academic context. So the damage being done to their reputations is always a good thing, and I'm not complaining about that. I just hope that whoever is behind it is really trying to undermine the entire system of the Federal Reserve rather than just specific people on it. But I really don't know.
Yeah, it's difficult to say. It's just all speculation, but it's really interesting that this is just coming out now because they've been doing it since last year. So, like you said in your weekend report, maybe there's someone in the Fed trying to undermine the credibility of the Fed. I guess once you undermine the credibility of the Fed, you undermine the currency that it issues. I guess the paper dollar. And I just wanted to ask you, are you okay if we go through some of the stuff you wrote on your weekend report so maybe people can see what you do there?
Yeah, that's fine.
If we can share it, maybe we can look at silver. Let's have a look here because a lot of people here are interested in silver, and I thought what you said about silver is quite interesting with the triple bottom. Let's have a look. So this is Rafi's Endgame Investor newsletter. If you like to subscribe to it, I think it's only about over $200 a year. So about $20 a month. It's really worth it. And so he's talking about silver linings, gaps. So just wanted to go through here the silver, if you want to talk through the technicals in the silver market for the viewers.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say just about technicals generally. Technicals are not a science. I mean, they don't always work out the way you think, and you have all these different technicians from different technical schools that are trying to second guess things based on chart patterns. But there are patterns that work out percentage wise more than others. And one of them is this, and not so that it's going to work out this time, but there is a triple bottom here that was marginally broken this week. You can see here there that the candle slightly stuck under the triple bottom there that was started in September. And if you have a triple bottom that's marginally broken, usually you have a lot of sell stops below that triple bottom where the last hangers on kind of liquidate their shares. But this one really didn't go that far below the other three. So I mean, there could be some further selling. But the other thing that I saw on this specific level was in that second chart there, where you can see the March 17th, 2008 high was exactly where we are now. So it's also a it's that second chart is a chart from 2008, 2011, late 2011. So here we see that in March 2008 we reached a high of the same level we're at now. So we're basically at a 12-year pivot point of about 2144, 2146, or whatever it is. So aside from this being a triple bottom that was marginally broken to that level, you see from the third chart here that this is a major pivot point going back all the way to 2008. And this time we're approaching it from on top of it rather than going from the bottom like we did in 2008, and then we lost it after 2011, and then we tested the support, the resistance again in 2014 and 2016. Now we're testing it as support. So I'd say if we can bounce off these levels and go to 25, 26, something like that pretty quickly, like in the next few weeks or 2 months or so, then I'd say goodbye to $20 silver forever, because eventually we're going to see a parabolic run. Don't know exactly when, but this could be a point, and if it's going to be a point, then you have to be at least in enough to take advantage of that without trying to guess it perfectly.
I see. And yeah, the other thing that's happening, I guess here in the UK, they're talking about the fact that we're going to face higher petrol prices or gas prices. I just saw an article today on Bloomberg talking about that. And to Americans out there who think that their gas prices are high, ours is already almost the equivalent of $9 per gallon. So it's like a pound. I think it's the last time I went, I paid £1.52, which is over $9 for diesel. And I was lucky. I went 3 days ago and I was able to get 35 pounds worth. That was the maximum I could put in. And I've got over half a tank, which is fine because my wife and I don't really use the car that much. So we're quite lucky in that sense. Let's see here. We got some more super chats. Carlos Garcia, thank you for your super chat. He says, happy birthday, Mario. Girl Olgi as well from Norway. Thank you for your super chat. World is an illusion trying to change you. Yeah. And it's interesting, Norway, the Norwegian central bank raised rates recently. Did you see that, Rafi?
Norway raised rates?
Yeah, last week or the week before. Yeah, it's the first.
I didn't see that, but I did see that Zero Hedge said something about we're in like one of the biggest hiking cycles of 20 years. It couldn't be the Fed, so it must have been other countries.
Yeah, we've got Brazil hiking rates. We've got Turkey. Yeah, some of the emerging market countries, they don't have the luxury of being part of the club that manipulates interest rates and currencies. I wanted to ask you a little bit. because we're hearing like, I think there was a central banker, like a Jackson Hole style meeting in Europe of the ECB in Sintra, and a lot of the major central bankers are there, and they're all blaming the supply chain and shortages for higher prices. Can you tell us like the way you see it, because I see it as you do as well. And you were on, is it Gold Palisades Radio? You explained really well what's happening to the money. And do you think we're at the start of where people, people's demand for money just drops through the floor? That's what Mises and the Austrians say. When there's no demand for money, people want to get anything but money. That's when we get the collapse.
Well, I'm not going to say I'm going to correct you, but let me just like alter what you said a little bit, and you'll agree with me, I'm sure. It's not that there's no demand for money. There's less and less demand for the inflated money substitutes. But I'm sure you agree with me on that. And so what I would say is that this issue has been predicted by I'll point out specifically Alistair MacLeod of Gold Money, who warned about systemic backwardation in the entire commodity complex. And backwardation is just, forget about it's a scary word. Just don't worry about what it means. It means a shortage, right? So he's talking about shortages in all commodity markets. But how can you have a shortage in all commodities? It doesn't make sense to have shortages in all commodities, because you can't have a shortage in all commodities. You can have a shortage. You can have a problem with the exchange, the exchange medium with which commodities are being traded. I mean, that is what is happening. Not a shortage in every single commodity. It doesn't make sense, because when you look at an exchange between a monetary medium and a commodity, a Keynesian analysis, or someone who's looking at a chart or just raw numbers, would say, okay, when one is being exchanged for the other, it means a demand for the commodity. But from an Austrian perspective, an Austrian school perspective, which emphasizes human action and the motivations behind any specific exchange, you can say either it's a demand for the commodity, or it's a demand to get out of the monetary medium. And that is what would lead to systemic shortages in every single commodity, right? If there's a wheat shortage, but there's plenty of oil, you're going to have low oil prices and high wheat prices because people need to eat and they don't need to drive. But if you have systemic shortages in every single commodity, you have a problem with the money. It means that people want to get rid of money faster and faster and faster. And that's what's happening. I mean, there's no such thing as a shortage of every commodity. We know how to make commodities. We know how to supply them. We just can't do it if everyone's trying to get through the same door at the same time. And they do that through the monetary medium.
Yeah, and I think a lot of producers, the people provide commodities and other things, subconsciously they're realizing that the money is becoming worth less and less, and they don't want to part with it. Also, labor. Sorry, just Dmitry Shmerkovich. Thank you for your super chat. Sean Bird, thank you for your super chat. Wheat has shot up in price recently. Do you have any opinions on this, please? Marion Rafi, rare birds indeed. Thank you, Thomas. I think someone also asked about the cattle to silver ratio. Do you follow that one? I don't.
No, I don't. Maybe I should. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of indicators I could follow, but I can't follow them all, and I have my biases in what I follow.
Yeah. What I'm seeing as well is that you're seeing like different commodities, all of them getting bid up. We've had lumber earlier this year, even coffee is going up. We've had all the industrial metals go up a lot. They've stabilized right now. Copper, we're seeing cotton go up. Yeah, and like you said, it's not just one commodity. We're seeing natural gas now. I guess the only ones that are like lagging a little bit this year are gold and silver. Do you think they will be the last one when we actually start seeing a rush out of the fiat currency or paper money?
Will they be the last? I can't tell you. I can't tell you the order. But what I was going to say is that especially for you in the UK, and you're experiencing like the brunt of this natural gas squeeze and the petrol squeeze, and a lot of acute, serious commodity squeezes that are going to affect your life and the lives of your friends directly. I mean, this is the ideal time to test really our theories and to put them really into practice. Like if gold and silver are going to catch up to the rest of commodities, and when they do, it's going to prove our case that this is not a commodity shortage, this is a money shortage. Because the people that hold gold and silver, let's say theoretically gold goes up, like, doubles in the next 6 months or
Rafi,
whatever.
can you explain what you mean by money shortage? That you don't
Uh,
mean like a shortage of pounds or dollars, right?
yeah, I
Can
don't
you?
mean a shortage of pounds and dollars. I mean a shortage of real, good, honest, hard currency, meaning gold and silver. There's no shortage of it. I mean, people, because there's the same amount, but like I'm saying that the average consumer doesn't have enough of honest money in order to buy good commodities that he can live his life with. They're concentrated in central banks and in other hoarders and gold bugs. But the average guy who doesn't really spend his time thinking about the monetary system is not going to stack gold and silver. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to convince them to do that so they don't encounter these problems. But if you have a situation where, let's say, in the next 6 months gold doubles, right? Then in that sense, that commodities prices in general will have in gold terms. And while everyone's experiencing a petrol shortage or a natural gas shortage, if you have gold and silver, you'll be able to buy it for a very small amount of physical metal. If it comes to trading physical metals for actual commodities, that would require a very serious situation. But it would mean that the money that you have is good enough to buy what you need, which means the problem is the monetary medium and not the actual commodity.
Yeah, I went out for dinner last night with my wife, and it was for my birthday. So we did order one bottle of champagne, which
Mhm.
was 70 pounds, quite expensive. But the whole dinner came to 170 pounds, and we ate really well. So, and I was talking to my wife about it. That was about uh, half a sovereign, which is half a pound, because the sovereign now is about 310, 320 to buy. And I remember back in the late 90s, the sovereign was about 50 pounds. And if you went for a nice dinner, you might need like at least two sovereigns. So gold is performing really well over the long term. It's given me, even though I didn't pay it in sovereigns. So I see what you mean. Could we move into the situation in the US Congress with these negotiations for this infrastructure bill, and it's a reconciliation bill, and then the debt ceiling? I know you think it's going to go through, but I saw this tweet today, and a lot of times I get, I see it's good to be on Twitter because you see a lot of people's thinking on things, I think. And this is what this guy said here, because someone tweeted US Senator Schumer, Chucky Schumer, says goal is to get both bills done in the next month. And we've heard that Janet Yellen said that the US government has only until probably 18th of October, and then it will default. So this guy says that means we will miss that ceiling deadline, should sell into the uncertainty. So how do you see this whole thing panning out? And how do you see this infrastructure bill and the Build Back Better bill as well? I think infrastructure bill is 1.2 billion, and the other one is like 3.5 trillion.
Mhm. I don't see anything serious in here, um, because if you're going to think that if you think that possibly the debt ceiling is not going to be raised and they're really going to default, in a proper sense and not pay interest on their debt in dollar terms, then you have to see Congress as two distinct teams, Republicans versus Democrats, and one side is really fighting the other, and they have different principles. And earlier in the 20th century, and especially in the 19th century, that was true. They did have different principles. But now it's all just a show. I mean, how many times have Republicans proven that they don't really care about the debt ceiling? They've proven it over and over and over again. I mean, they might be able to leverage Democrats into lowering their spending priorities, or maybe, taking some kind of, like, I don't know, clause out of a law that says that men can be pregnant. I mean, I don't know, but whatever the Democrats want to put in there, and they want to take it out. Their negotiating lines keep getting lowered and lowered, but eventually they'll find a compromise before there's any kind of serious default problem, and they're going to find it like they always do. I mean, they're all the same side. They're all the same people. They don't really fight.
They're in the same club. They're just different factions, I would say. And I mean, I saw a warning from Jamie Dimon about a week ago. He said that JP Morgan, the bank, is concerned about this. But like you said, eventually they will probably raise the ceiling or even eliminate the debt ceiling. I think Janet Yellen said last week that should be okay with that. That would make spending and deficit spending and like money printing even worse, I would say. Someone asked Rafi about your saga with COMEX, or the brokers and the silver situation. Could you go over that? And before you do, just wanted to say, thank, I got a super chat and I forgot to thank Freedom Stacker. Thank you, Freedom Stacker. So yeah, Rafi, tell us a little bit about I'm not surprised that you're having trouble with the brokers and getting your silver, because I worked as a futures broker and I never saw anyone take delivery of gold and silver. And one time I wanted to have a big Norwegian client that we had, one of the wealthiest guys in Norway. He was trading a lot of silver with us, and I wanted to suggest to him that he take delivery. And my boss said, "Oh, forget about it. We never do that."
Well, okay, so I do have some big news here. So I did sign in. I signed into my brokerage account at Interactive Brokers at the end of the week, and I was pretty scared to do it. It was on September 30th, and I have like other things that I'm dealing with here in Israel, trying to get my kids into school and like all this stress issues, and with the green passport and all this other stuff. So like I'm really nervous to see what's in my Interactive Brokers account, because what if thoughts are going off in my head. What if they force me out at a big loss and I don't know what to do. So I checked it, and I see that instead of a contract there for September spot, I see silver warrant. So yeah, I can confirm that I am the first Interactive Brokers client ever to successfully get delivery of a silver warrant. Now, that doesn't mean I have physical silver. It means I have a warrant that represents 5 bars somewhere in a COMEX vault somewhere. And I don't know. Now I have to get in touch with the team. And I didn't fund this. I got money from a friend who connected me with another friend. And now I have to talk with the people that the plan is I'm going to take this warrant. I'm going to transfer it to someone who has someone with a retail company who has an account with Brinks, and he's going to get the warrant, and then he's going to get the bars, and then we're going to, I don't know, coin them or slice them up or something. But the thing is, I don't really know exactly what to do now, because there's no indication in my account at Interactive Brokers of a serial number for this warrant or what I'm supposed to do with it. So it's going to be another war with the COMEX directly this time.
You're going to have to contact COMEX now?
Yeah. I'm going to have to contact COMEX and tell them, I don't know, maybe my account number at Interactive Brokers and because exactly what my warrant represents, which 5 bars and how much exactly do they weigh. I don't know any of that, and it's not in any of my account statistics. So I'm going to have to talk to people, and I'm going to have to really bother them, try to figure out this process. And really, I'm in the blind here. But at least I got the warrant, and let's move on to the next steps. Okay, let's go to the COMEX directly. So
Yeah,
I'll be reporting on that later.
who's gonna be taking if there is the delivery? I guess it's gonna be delivered to somewhere in the US, or is it gonna come to you in Israel?
No, it's not coming to me. No way. Is it these I just got a gift of a few silver bars from a friend who's involved in this project, and like the taxes that I have to pay on that are insane. And
Oh,
the
yeah.
process of me filling out all the papers to just get it and to convince him that I got it as a gift and I didn't buy it. It's all a mishigas, it's all crazy. So no, I'm not getting it in Israel. What we plan to do, and I don't know if this is going to work out exactly, but Andy Shechtman of Miles Franklin is involved in this, and we were thinking he has an account at Brinks, and I was thinking of we were thinking of getting him the warrant, and then he would have the bars and access the warrant through that, and then he has the machinery to coin it or to slice it, and I'll be talking to him this week and to see what the next steps are. Hopefully, we can do something real and physical with this, and then open up the process to other people who are interested in doing this, and then we can really start an attack.
That's good. That's good. Um, what else? Yeah. Yeah, as I said, yeah, I mean, these, COMEX, gold and silver contracts, they never really encourage people to take delivery. Like, retail, they want people just to bet on the price. So yeah, but it's a good thing that you started doing that. So let's see if we've got some more. Yeah, because if you succeed in that, and then you could get other people behind it, and they're not going to like this, of course. Someone is asking, what is life like in Israel right now, Rafi?
I'll try to be very careful with what I say.
Yeah.
Um, I do not follow the majority here, and the majority are medicated in certain ways that I'm not. But the fight that I'm engaged in now is trying to get my kids into school. Not because I can't homeschool, I do homeschool my kids, but I'm an English speaker and I do speak Hebrew, and my wife speaks Hebrew, but my kids need to be around a Hebrew speaking environment, and they need to be with their other kids. And there isn't much of a homeschooling community here, and I need my kids' priority to be around other children. But I won't do any of the things that they demand in order to get them into school. So basically, I had to fight and insist that they go into school without me following any of the laws that are required here. Technically, I don't even know if they're laws or just guidelines. I don't even know. I'm not a lawyer. But that was successful, and after a lot of impolite yelling and screaming with certain administrators, I got them all in after a big fight, and my wife and I were united on this, and that was on September 30th. And now I'm done fighting for now, and I'm waiting for the next round. But yeah, it's very difficult because we feel ostracized here, and for good reason we are. Even my close friends who did certain things because they felt pressured, and I'm not blaming them for it. Thank God I don't have to do those things because I have a certain degree of independence. But my wife goes into her first day of work at a university this week, and she might get fired. Who knows? We'll see. It's very
Yeah.
difficult, but I'm going to keep fighting.
All right. So ask us questions now if you guys would like, the viewers. So someone's asking about PSLV. Do you think that it's safe, PSLV, Rafi? Do you know anything about PSLV?
I trust Eric Sprott. He's the manager of PSLV. I don't think he's a cheater. Um, and it could be useful for using silver to track the dollar price. I trust it more than SLV.
Yeah.
But if you want to use it to get physical silver, it's going to cost you a lot of money. I think it's even more than I think it's like 10,000 ounces instead of 5,000. You're better off using the COMEX itself if you're going to try to get physical bars. But yeah, if you are worried about a default by SLV, then I would pick PSLV. But if you want actual physical silver, I wouldn't pick PSLV or SLV. I would just buy physical silver.
Yeah, yeah. Someone is asking silver coins or bars. John Smith, I'll answer that. I like both. The first time I bought silver in 2003, I bought a kilo bar. And then, you just got to start and you learn. And that's what I tell people who have never bought gold or silver, to actually do their homework and buy it and hold on and hold it. And then you realize how special a gold, a silver coin, or a silver bar is. In terms of silver coins, I think they're all good. Even though there are some silver coins, for example, here in the UK, I bought like some Britannias a couple of weeks ago, and Britannias are good here because they're like legal tender, so there's no capital gains on Britannias if the price of silver were to go to the moon, hopefully, and I sold it, or not sold it, but let's say I wanted to get out of silver and into another asset, I'd have to go through the fiat currency. If it's still around, I wouldn't have to pay any capital gains tax. So you need to check that as well in the country that you are. Like in the US, I think it's the Silver Eagles. And I also like the old coins, like the coins that used to be used as money and currency, like pre 1970s in most countries. We still had silver in the coinage. They call them sometimes junk silver, but the bars are great as well. So have you got any thoughts on that, Rafi?
Yeah, my first precious metals purchase was a junk silver bag from Shift Gold, and that was I think like 500 ounces of junk silver half dollars, which I still have a lot of. I've been giving a lot of them out as gifts for for people. But yeah, I mean they're recognizable, and I think they're 90% silver, but I also have some 100% bullion coins. And I mean I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I would assume something like, if there's a currency crisis, then you go to a grocery store, they're going to have like this silver assay weighing system or something to check your coins if you're going to be buying some food. That's my guess, but my guess is as good as anybody else's. What's going to happen and how you're going to actually use your silver coins. I own silver coins because I want to buy food with them, and essential stuff. If it comes to that, that's why I have it. I don't have it to gain fiat currency. That's not even part of my calculations.
Yeah, I think you could be right. It's like bartering. Well, it's not really bartering. It would be indirect exchange. People talk a lot about how you're going to barter gold and silver, but actually, gold and silver helped facilitate barter and became money. So, Pace Arrow, thank you for your super chat. Says Rafi, never give in. Happy birthday, Mario. Thank you. Yeah, here in the UK as well. I'm fortunate that I actually don't. I do my videos and I do other things from home. I've been doing it since late 2015. And to be honest, the lockdowns didn't affect my business much. If anything, it improved it. And I'm trying to not comply as much as possible, even though there are a lot of people falling into it, people getting like the third step of this medical, they call it a booster. I mean, I think that's crazy. And you hear, you listen to people like Fauci and Biden and others months ago, they're saying, oh, you're going to get this and you're going to be fine. And that's it. But it looks, I saw that one of the pharmaceutical companies, BioNTech, I forgot the name of it, but the CEO there said, oh, they might have to get a new medical procedure. So it's great for them. Pretty soon people are going to have like 10 of these. And yeah, I hate to see what's going to happen in 2 or 3 years to them, the side effects. Anyway, we got another question here. We have to try to avoid talking too much about this. Don't want to be deleted from YouTube. Does Rafi have coin dealers and bullion shops in Israel? Just wondering. I don't think there is much, is there?
There's not much, but I did make a big silver order with some of my friends. And I'll mention his name here. It's the company is called igold.coil. I don't get any commissions from them or anything. I'm just mentioning them because I did business with them and I trust them. So if you're in Israel and you want physical metals, what they do is they get around.
How do you spell that, Rafi? Sorry.
iGold.
iGold dot
.co.il.
CI dot IL.
Dot
Is that
.co.il.
oh, is that it's like .co.uk?
Yeah.
iGold. All right, that's where you can get gold and silver in Israel. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they store it in a lot, which has a loophole that if you ship through a lot, which is the southernmost city in Israel, then there's no VAT taxes, but you have to keep it in a lot for 3 months. That's what I did. Like I ordered silver many months ago, and we kept it in a lot for 3 months, and then I drove all the way from the Golan all the way down to Eilat, which is like a 6-hour drive all the way from the top of Israel to the bottom, and we picked it up, and everything was fine. And they're honest people, and yeah, there's not much, but there is some, and these are South African guys, so they know a little bit about it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just to let the viewers know that Rafi does have a YouTube channel, and I highly recommend it. It's Rafi Farber. It's very simple. The YouTube channel. Yeah, there you go. Rafi Farber YouTube. Oh, I saw a question about platinum. What do you think about platinum? Any views on platinum, Rafi?
Yeah, platinum. Basically, if gold is, I don't know, let's say a steak, then platinum would be, I don't know, a pixie stick or some kind of candy or some kind of dessert that you could put on top of. You could have, after your meal. That it could put you on a sugar high or it could crash you. There's not much more I can say about it, but it's a dangerous metal because it's not money. It was only discovered, I think, in the 19th century. So it has really very little monetary history other than a few quirks. So if you want a little bit of platinum, it's good, it's fine. But I wouldn't put the bulk of your investments in it because I don't know what's going to happen to it. It's mostly used as a catalytic converter. What do you call it? Catalyst.
Yeah.
But more than that, I wouldn't put too much into it.
Yeah, there's someone, SW is asking about the $1 trillion platinum coin. I'll answer that. I think it's just crazy. It's a gimmick. They had that idea, I think, the last time there was a budget, not a debt ceiling crisis. It's just very hyperinflationary. It's just silly to, it's just like saying that, yeah, it makes no sense whatsoever. You might as well just print the trillion. Yeah, because an ounce of platinum is worth right now about $900. It's not worth $1 trillion. So yeah, I think platinum, like you said, platinum isn't money. The name platinum actually means little silver. And like you said, it was discovered in the early 1800s, I think, and I think is more of an industrial metal. But I think it will do well as well if we see a continued. I think we will continue to see a continued loss of confidence in fiat currencies. Anything that is a hard asset will do well. Someone asked as well, Rafi, I let you answer this one. I think they asked you anyway. How close do you think we are to the hyperinflationary or the crack-up boom or Katastrophenhause, as the Austrians call it?
How close? I've I've tried to think of this, for many, many years, and exactly how close. I can't see this going on for many more years. I can't say exactly when. I'm hoping it'll be this year. But the one thing I can point to is if you look at the money supply expansion, the actual if you just look at a graph of the money supply, you can see that it's going pretty much vertical now, and it's been going vertical since around June 2020, and it's still going at about a 45-degree angle. But what I can point out is until 2008, it was going, pretty flat. And then 2008, it started going up a little bit higher, let's say like a 30-degree angle. Now it's at a 45-degree angle after a brief, spurt, vertically. But yeah, so yeah, you can see there it's still going like maybe that's a 60-degree angle, but like there's only one more step to this, and that is when it goes completely vertical. So that's going to be the next liquidity crisis, and exactly when that hits, I don't know. It's going to be soon, but I'm pretty sure, even though I don't know the exact timing, the next liquidity crisis when it hits, I'm pretty sure, and I'm pretty confident is going to be the very last one. So we have one more liquidity crisis to go through, and then I think that'll be it.
Yeah, and I'll add a little bit about hyperinflation from what I've read in Germany and also Central Europe, because it wasn't just in Germany, it happened in Austria, Hungary, those Central European powers. And the inflation really started in 1914, and I think the Germans, they printed a lot more deficit financing during World War I than the other countries that were in the war, because they thought they're going to win and they could it would be fine, but they lost, of course. And then in 1918 they continued to do a lot of deficit financing, and then prices already had started rising during the war, and they kept rising after the war, and then they accelerated like in 21, 22. And then I think there was some kind of event in 1922. I think it was some political thing that really kicked off the hyperinflation. So it was like mid 22 to the end of 23. So it only took 18 months, really. Prior to that, it was going up like, the M2 chart. And I think maybe I don't know. It's difficult to say. In hindsight, it's easy for us to say that it was 1922, but it could have been May last year that it started. And we might have another 6-12 months, and then it picks up. And then by the end of 23, and this time around as well, maybe 100 years later, it could be when it all ends. But the thing about hyperinflation is that it starts with the cost push inflation, which is what we're having now. And then hyperinflation is actually the loss of confidence in the currency. And it's not about cost. It's just that people want to get rid of the currency, and producers don't want to sell anything. There's shortages. The economy slows down. So those people who think that the economy slow down and supply shrinking is going to bring inflation lower, I think they are misguided. Do you agree with me on that, Rafi?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say that usually in a functioning economy, rising prices lead to higher production because entrepreneurs want to capture those higher prices. But when you're talking about higher prices in basic commodities, then higher prices lead to lower production, because when you have too high prices for basic commodities, businesses cannot operate on those costs anymore. So they have to lower the amount of product that they produce, and that puts the economic engine in reverse, which is exactly what's happening now. So the farther it goes into reverse, the less supply of goods and services there are, the more expensive they are, the more expensive commodities get, and you have this positive feedback loop. And until 2020, even in 2008, the Fed could step in and slow down the money printing machine in order to regain strength, purchasing power and the money substitute. But now doing that at all would just destroy the entire banking system globally very quickly. So there's no way they can stop now.
Yeah.
And it's all going down. It's just a matter of time and not that much.
So I got a chart here of in Germany, value of one gold mark in paper marks. So it's pretty much like the price of gold back then in marks, in fiat currency. And can you imagine, it looks like we got here to like 50 marks, and then it dropped to almost 10. I'm sure there are a lot of people saying, oh, I'm going to get rid of my gold, it's dropped. But then it went eventually to how much? That's a trillion marks by the end of
Yeah, that was the Renton.
1923.
The Renton mark was a trillion to
Yeah.
one.
And then you see here that I was speaking about 1922. That's when it really started picking up. Up until then, it was still below 100. You could still, one gold mark was 100 paper marks. So yeah, it's quite interesting. And the thing is, if you didn't have gold, pretty much after this period here, it would probably be really hard to get in or to get any, I would say. And this is a logarithmic chart, so this is in percentage terms. This chart would look a lot steeper, in geometric terms.
Yeah.
Let's see if we got any more. We got 10 minutes to go. See any more questions. Thoughts on graphene replacing everything but gold? Do you know anything about graphene, Rafi? I know a little bit about graphene, but
graphene, is that like ultra lightweight, very sturdy stuff?
yeah.
I don't see it as any different than any other material technology advancement that has happened.
Yeah.
It's not going to be money.
Yeah. I heard that it's in the medical procedure as well, which isn't good, but that's a different story. Norman Burton, thank you for your super chat. What do you think of Biden's nominee, Professor Saule Omarova of Cornell Law School, to be the next controller of the currency? She was born in the Soviet Union. She wants to eliminate all banks and centralize the system. I guess that would play with the digital Fed coin, I guess. You would only have one central bank. I guess like in Romania, they only had one bank. They didn't have any other banks. That's not a good sign. What do you think, Rafi?
I have no idea. I don't even know what the comptroller of the currency does anymore.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a powerful position, the
I'll
controller of the
just say
currency.
generally, as we get to the end game, the end of this, the tendency towards centralization is going to get more and more extreme, and yeah, and you're going to get towards more, one single thing controls every single other thing, and the economy's going to get less and less workable. So if this is the trend, it doesn't surprise me. But they're not going to succeed by centralizing more and more, that's for sure. They're just going to mess things up more and more until they lose control of everything. And then everything is going to decentralize by just the force of nothing working.
Miles, thank you for your super chat. How long on average for inflation, hyperinflation, deflation to subside? When to move out of my metals? Well, as I said, the hyperinflation, the inflation, if it doesn't go out of control, I guess if you go back to the 60s and 70s, it took about 14, 15 years. From the mid 60s to 1980, there was pretty high inflation. And then we saw a disinflation, deflation. I guess we saw that during the Great Depression from the early 30s until the end of the war. That took about 14, 15 years. But hyperinflation is a lot quicker. In Germany, it only lasted really about 18 months from 1922, mid 22 to the end of 23. When you move out of metals, well, I would consider metals as savings. And from interviewing Arpad from Star Path Academy, who went through hyperinflation in the 90s in Romania, he said it's really hard. If you're in a hyperinflation, you have to forget about the fiat currency and measure how many ounces of gold or silver you can get for, I don't know, for steak or for acreage of land or for a car. And you have to keep, you have to work out if it's at a good ratio to get rid of your metals for something that you need. It could be something productive, a productive asset, or it could be something that you always wanted to have. Any thoughts, Rafi?
Well, yeah, it might be useful to look at hyperinflation from the other perspective of someone who doesn't have, instead of looking looking at it from the perspective of someone who has gold and silver and is looking when to maximize return or get rid of it. Look at it from the perspective of someone who doesn't have gold or silver and only has like a commodity. Let's say he's a farmer or a restaurateur and he has like, a few steaks that he wants to sell to rich people. He's got to figure out how much how much gold or silver he can get for however much food he has in his freezer. Or if he's a farmer, how much gold or silver he can get from however much wheat he's growing or whatever. And people are going to be looking for media of exchange because they have stuff and they need stuff in exchange for it, and they need a medium for it. So the people are going to be after this medium, and that medium is almost always gold and silver, especially for a global economy. And there's no reason to suspect that it would be any different now. So it's coming. And when to get rid of your gold and silver is when you can get real wealth for it. If you see a good deal in a house and it only costs like 6 or 7 gold coins and you have a bunch, buy it. Have yourself a nice house. Just do the math. This is something that none of us can really calculate because we've never been through it, especially on a global scale. So we really don't know what's going to happen. Instead of trying, but the key is stop trying to think in terms of fiat denominated wealth.
Yeah.
Think of it in terms of real wealth, what you can acquire.
Yeah, maybe have also alcohol, cigarettes, a lot of those things do well as well, because a lot of people want that. Full of Hope, thank you for your super chat. She's got a question for you, Rafi. She says, I say she because I know who Full of Hope is. I donate to One for Israel. Have you heard of them? They're bringing the gospel to those in Israel wanting to learn about Christ.
That's not a question that I'm going to answer.
Have you heard of them or?
I've heard of people who want to do that kind of stuff, and it's not my thing.
All right, that's fine. Let's see, we've got one more question here. Monaco 64, the Lebanese guy interviewed on Star Path Academy seemed to say that their hyperinflated lira was more liquid in the minds of people who don't know about exchanging gold. Yeah, well, I mean, there are a lot of people who don't know about gold and silver, and they'll keep trying to stay in the fiat currency. I mean, I lived in Brazil in the 80s, and there was a lot of inflation, and I don't remember people talking about gold and silver at the time. The dollar, people wanted dollars. That's what people wanted. I saw that there's an investigation now going into the central bank governor of Lebanon. Apparently, he siphoned hundreds of millions of dollars out of Lebanon. And I saw that in June, the very wealthy in Lebanon, they transferred $4 billion out of the country to Switzerland. So maybe, what's happening in Lebanon could happen in the US with all the Fed presidents and governors getting caught up in these scandals. there is only one way. Thank you for your super chat. It says silver, gold, and Bitcoin to the moon. Do you have a view? I think I know your view on cryptocurrencies. I think you have some exposure to it, Rafi.
Yeah, very, very little. I have a very small exposure to Bitcoin SV, because I worked with a group of people who, for some reason, think that Bitcoin SV is the real Bitcoin. I really have no opinion on it, whether it is or whether it isn't. I think Bitcoin has a certain amount of speculative value. If you want to bet on a small amount of it, go for it. That's what I'm doing. But it's really insignificant for me, and I don't follow the price of it. I check in maybe once a month to see what's going on, or if I see a headline that's how much have I made now or lost now. I really don't care. But in the end, there's no future in Bitcoin, because if there is, if it's a Manavshach, I say Manavshach in English. It's a paradox that if it works, then central banks and governments will destroy it, and if it doesn't work, they'll ignore it and it'll go to zero. So either way, it's not going to work.
I think they might hijack it as well, just like they hijacked gold and silver, but we'll have to see. Port Film Co-op, thank you for your super chat. What is the best documentary to learn about the Federal Reserve? I can't, top of my head, I can't think of a documentary, but I can think of a great, quite some good books like The Creature from Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin. Do you know of any documentaries, Rafi?
Documentaries on the Fed? No.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, from The Creature from Jekyll Island. I'll type that for you. G. Edward Griffin. There you go. Yeah, that's like the most popular book to learn about the Federal Reserve. But you can Google, the origins of the Federal Reserve, and you should find some good, might find something interesting. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for showing up and for all the the super chats, for all the birthday wishes. Thank you, Rafi, for coming on short notice. I always enjoy speaking with you and on the live stream. And I don't think you'd been for a while now, so that was good to have you back.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah, and any final words, Rafi, to the viewers?
Any final words? Yeah, I mean, if you don't have a full position, or at least most of what you want in gold and silver, now is probably an ideal time. Is it an exact bottom? Maybe, maybe not, but I don't think we're going to go that much lower than we are now. And the sentiment, especially in mining stocks, is really, really low, really, really bad, and people are starting to freak out. So now is a good time to increase your positions if you have more cash than you want.
Great. All right. Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of the weekend, or if you're in Australia, a great beginning to the week. And I'll speak to you tomorrow. Take care. Bye. Okay. End stream.